Perfect. Just want to see if I can see everybody. Gallery view. There we go.
Good. Okay.
Okay. Hi. All right. So this is going to be as informal and as quick as I can make it, because that's how we roll here in Better Together. My name's Jenny Franz. My name's Jenny Franz. I'm the founder of this organization. And I am so happy to have all of you here on this Zoom tonight and to be interested in becoming part of this awesome family we have here. I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of myself because I think the journey into starting this is important to kind of know my background. And then I'll introduce you to some other of our volunteers that are on this Zoom as well. Um, so as I said, my name's Jenny Franz. I live in Belchertown with my husband Nate and my two sons who attend Pelham Elementary and Amherst Regional Middle School right now. So super fun times with middle school. It's great. Um, in about 2015, I started or I co-founded BARC, which is the Belchertown Animal Relief Committee. We started that organization to build a animal control facility in Belchertown. They had a dog pound there. It was not working for what was needed, as we have more of a cat problem. But it was a pound, and we can't deal with pounds anymore. We are beyond that for what we need for animal control. So that was kind of my first dip into getting involved in animal welfare. After that, I joined Rainbow Rescues and I started fostering for them, which was an amazing experience. And I've fostered about 40 dogs since then for them and now for Better Together as well. During COVID, I got my master's degree in contemporary animal services. And then I did my 6 week internship out at Best Friends Animal Sanctuary in Kanab, Utah, where I really got to dive deep into sanctuary and shelter life, something that I hadn't really had experience in prior. And I felt that it was important to have that experience if I was going to be moving forward with this dream of mine. So that kind of brings us to Better Together, which was started in 2021 out of my home in Belchertown. It was a process to find all of these wonderful people that have really helped to make this organization what it is. And that's kind of the gist of me and how we got here. Um, I think it's important for people to jive with the organization that they're volunteering with. So that's why I think this Zoom meeting is great. And for anybody future coming in, you want to make sure that you believe in the mission and the values and the goals, because trust me, if it's not us, there is an organization out there that is for you, and I encourage you to find that. We are a group of animal lovers to the core. That's why we're all here. That's our passion. We also have a wicked sense of humor, and we need it to kind of get through the hard times of this field that we've chosen to be in. We see much, much more good than we do bad, but certainly in any situation, the bad sticks with us. It gets to our and it's speaker's not working. Can you still hear me okay? Okay, good. Um, so we lean on each other tremendously and we cry, but we definitely try to laugh and make light of as much as we can to keep each other going, and to get us through those hard and difficult times. Um, the mission of Better Together is to support dogs and the people who love them. That means that we obviously want to save dogs, rescue them, get them into adoptive homes, but we also want to keep those dogs in their homes. So that brings the community aspect into this organization locally. We have a free store and food pantry that's available to the community. We work with the Survival Center, and we want to expand this program as well. It's just we're limited to what we can do right now. So our building in Leverett is kind of
We can't hear you.
Any better? Okay. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps popping up. We graciously had our van donated to us by Tito's Vodka for Dog People. It's a foundation that Tito's Vodka runs, which is really exciting. So the van is part of our pantry program, as well as we utilize it for transport of dogs. So we did a few pantries. We were at the Hampshire Mall. We went our this is really gonna bug me. Can you still hear me? Okay, sorry. It's blinking things at me all over the place. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm back. Am I back? See, we need to laugh. Um, okay, moving on. Anyway, pantry is something that is open. Right, hang on. In progress. Okay. Okay, how's that? Oh, there you are. There we go. Um, I need a bag of food for my dogs. Things are really rough right now. They're looking up in the future, but can you help me? And he was so like, I don't like asking, but of course we did. Not only did we give him 2 bags of food, but we gave him a bunch of Benebones for his pups as well. And we got just the sweetest thank you note from him. So, making those connections in the community as well is really important to me and to anybody who's become part of this organization as well.
If I may just interject for a moment, because
Of course.
Jenny is too humble and she will never say this, but not only did Jenny give him food, but she also gave him gift cards to stores where he could get things that he needed for himself as well. And that is the kind of spirit of generosity and kindness that she will never admit to because she'd be like, oh, whatever. But that is one of the reasons that I felt so strongly that this was an organization I could be a part of, because that's what we do. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you were never going to tell them. So, somebody had to.
Thank you, Sydney. That's very sweet. Yes, when people care for their dog more than themselves, it's only, it really gets to me. And I wanted to make sure that he, also was able to get some things for himself. Though I don't know if he spent it on his dogs. I told him he couldn't. But yeah, it's important, and it's humbling to see people care for their animals so much, especially during difficult times. We deal with a lot of people who return their animals for the silliest reasons. So to see somebody so committed, it really gets to me. So that was that. But it's an important thing to do, and we'd love to expand on it and offer spay neuter and things like that. So it's a growing program. It's a growing idea, and anybody is welcome to come in and throw their support behind it and get it off the ground even more. Another thing you want to align with is the values. Obviously we have our basic values that you can just see through what we're doing every day. But I do feel it's important to say that we believe in spay neuter. We follow the practices of shelter medicine versus private medicine. So, a lot of private vets will say you should wait a year to have them fixed and things like that. But in shelter medicine, the idea is that until puppies are not being euthanized in the shelters in this country, we just need to move forward with spay neuter as early as we can to stop this cycle that we're going through. So we don't do 8 weeks spay neuter, but we will start spay neuter around 12 weeks of age. Some of our puppies come to us already fixed at 8 weeks. That's not
a decision that we've made. It's from the shelter that they're coming from. But it's a common debate in this field. And so that is our value here at Better Together. We do believe in pediatric spay neuter. Another, hot topic when it comes to rescue is euthanasia and the no-kill movement. The no-kill movement was started by Best Friends Animal Society, and they wanted the whole country to be no-kill by 2025. We are a no-kill rescue. We don't believe in the euthanasia of healthy and adoptable dogs. We do believe in humane euthanasia for dogs that are suffering either from medical conditions or behavioral conditions that is not giving them their best life. Their quality of life is poor due to those conditions. It's rare, but it happens. As far as countrywide and my own beliefs with no kill, I don't feel that having 10 dogs squashed in one kennel to avoid euthanasia is a fair life for those dogs. So I think that there's a lot of debate that can go into the idea of no kill. But where we live in this country, thankfully, we don't have to run into that issue very often. But I still think it's important to educate yourself in the no-kill movement and, kind of understand what that means for no-kill cities. Austin Animal Center just have crates upon crates upon crates piled up, and our dogs living in crates who are not getting out at all during the day. Is that a fair life for us to give to these dogs? So, it's a debate. Again, it's something to educate yourself in. And you will hear it a lot when you're in this field of work. So moving on, we will get to questions, I promise, for anybody who has them. We primarily work with Texas, the Cleveland, Texas area. They have a large stray and cat population. Jill and I were just down there 2 weeks ago. We try to go down twice a year to do some boots on the ground work with our partners down there. That mainly entails feeding at night. It's so hot in August that the dogs hide during the day and the cats hide during the day. So we head out around 7 p.m. We put trays of food down. We put trays of water down. This time we were lucky enough to be able to pull 13 dogs directly off of the street while we were there. One of our partners down there had space. So those dogs are getting bedded now and will be coming up within the next month. It's an experience. It's a journey, and it's not meant for some people and it's fine for others. But the first time I went was shocking and emotional, and it's still emotional, but I'm able to compartmentalize why I'm there and what my purpose is at that time. But we really try to help that area as much as we can. We started a program called the FACT program, which is the Forgotten Animals of Cleveland, Texas. So that's an allotted amount of money that we put towards the Cleveland animals. That's dogs and cats each year in our budget. That helps to purchase food, water, prevention, medical supplies. We pay for spay neuter. We'll pay for heartworm treatment to help get these dogs off the street, because we can't take them all. We're limited to how many we can take. So if we can, help get a dog through heartworm treatment, that dog is going to be more likely to get pulled by another rescue if they don't have to be putting the funding in for that dog. If we have dogs that are living on the street and we can give them a Bravecto, that lasts for 3 months for flea and tick. So it helps their skin when they have horrible itchy skin and mange on the streets. And our partners down there who street feed keep track of these dogs. So when we went down, we brought a bunch of donations with us. We were able to give almost all the dogs that we saw heartworm and flea and tick prevention while we were down there. So that's a program that we started to be able to help the dogs and cats down there and our partners as well. Otherwise, we also work with Tennessee, mainly in the Nashville area and the rural counties around there. We work with an organization called Casa Transport. So their job is to pull the dogs, they vet them, and then they transport them up north to us. These dogs are not street animals like in Texas, but they are in the overcrowded shelters, so constantly at risk of euthanasia because of overcrowding. They also are in some of the worst rural shelters you could ever imagine, fed every couple of days, living in their own feces. It's just a nightmare. And I've been to those shelters as well. I've been to the Nashville area. I've seen it. It's important to see it, especially for me. It was important to go and be there and live it. It's one thing to see it in pictures and videos. It's another thing to experience it. It really, truly is. And I would encourage any rescue up north to do that, because it's very humbling. We live in this like beautiful little bubble up here. And so to see what they go through on a daily basis is really, it's a humbling experience. And then we obviously work in state as well. We've taken dogs that have been abandoned at the emergency room. We work with our ACOs all around the area. We are constantly getting surrender requests that we can't meet at all. People are just giving up their dogs left and right. And that's disappointing, and something that we are just constantly working through in our minds and our hearts, how to wrap our minds around these issues. Sometimes we get it. We have a lifetime return policy here. We will always take our dogs back. That policy is in place for extreme circumstances. You have a medical emergency, you can no longer care for your pet. You're being kicked out of your apartment and you have a pit bull and there's just no housing for it. Really extreme circumstances. And even in those circumstances, we will try to find temporary fostering so you don't have to give up your pet. But the reasons these days for returning dogs is quite shocking and disappointing. And we will even have people say, well, if you can't take them back in 2 days, we're going to bring them to a shelter. So just really, we're dealing with a lot of different situations here. Again, why we need to have a good sense of humor and lean on each other. So I think I've talked enough about me and this organization. Before I put it over to questions from all of you, I do want to introduce Sydney. Raise your hand. So Sydney is our foster coordinator. She
Hi, everyone.
She's the backbone of this organization. She handles all of our foster applicants and all of our foster dogs, and currently is also handling our adoption applications and meet and greets. So she's doing an extra job that she shouldn't be, but when we lost our adoption coordinator, she stepped up and is slaying it. So if anybody's interested in, helping to process adoption applications and do interviews, Sydney is going to be the person to connect with, so she can kind of walk you through what that process is. And I'm sure she would really enjoy the help.
Yes, that would be great.
Yes, she would love it. Jill is, wave Jill. Jill is the director of operations here. She basically does everything. So she's handling vet appointments, she's doing our newsletter. If you can think of it, she's doing it. And just as a reminder, we don't have any paid employees yet in this organization. It's definitely a goal. Jill and I work full-time here on top of, having other commitments that we need to attend to. And in any nonprofit, there should be paid employees, but we have to get to a point where that's doable. So, we are volunteering all of our time, and Jill is a tremendous help. Honestly, I couldn't do any of this without Jill or Sydney behind me and supporting this org. And then we also have, I hope I'm not missing anyone by who I can see here, but we have Kayla and Giselle on this call as well, and they are two of our amazing volunteers. Giselle is also a board member of Better Together Dog Rescue. So both of them not only help with animal care in the building, but they also volunteer at events and all other areas within the organization. So they're here as well to ask any questions. Kayla also has a foster right now. I can see.
Jess is here
look.
too.
Oh,
And is Jess here too?
Yes, she's
Oh, hey,
driving.
Jess is in her car, heading to a vacation with her foster puppy. We had 27 dogs come in on Monday from Tennessee.
wow.
It's been an exciting week. Kayla has a foster, Jill has a foster, Sydney had a foster who got adopted, and Jess has a foster as well. And Giselle is just waiting for the day that her dog Taina welcomes fosters into the home, or maybe more, her husband welcomes fosters into the home. And I'm here with Gia. This is our Gia girl. She gets
Oh.
the whole room to herself because she's an angel. But she is not good at adoption events because everything is just way too exciting for her brain. So she would bark the entire time.
Mhm.
So, we are trying to come up with creative ways to get those dogs seen a little bit more when they can't just be out in the community.
Yeah.
So moving on, opinions, advice, everything is welcomed here. It may be taken, it may not. That includes me for, asking if something's a good idea or not. I am the founder, so I am responsible for this whole organization. I am responsible for these dogs, but I am not the boss. I don't run this place like the boss. Everybody is equal here. And it's really important to me for everyone to feel validated and appreciated as much as they possibly can. And, we hope that you'll consider becoming part of this awesome little fam. Does anybody have any questions for any of us that we can answer?
I don't have any questions. This is Calla up on top there, but I'm sorry I was late. I reminded myself all day about this Zoom, and then I sat here and I thought, oh no.
Listen, don't worry
Late.
about it. I am notoriously late for everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're just happy to have you here.
I'm really delighted. I'm very excited. I live like not even a mile up from you guys.
Yay.
Yeah, on Montague Road. And I really want to get involved with you. I want to do whatever it is that you need, being done. So I'm psyched. I'm psyched for what you're doing, and I'm psyched for being involved.
Well, we're psyched too. And I'm sorry it took us so long to get this together.
Yeah.
When you have 2 or 3 people running an entire organization, it's impossible sometimes. It really is. And when we started to have dogs here, it was Jill and I here from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And Giselle and Kayla have given their times as well. But if nobody signs up, it's me and Jill, and so we were like, okay, we need to make this a priority and really get some help. People want to help.
Yeah.
We need to get them here.
Yep.
And, it'll benefit everybody, especially the dogs. They
Yeah.
do get out, they do get their walks and their playtime, but they could get even more enrichment and time, once the
yeah.
community starts coming in. So we are really excited about it.
Yeah, great. Well, my husband has Alzheimer's, and so that's kind of my first priority. I have to make sure he's okay. But, at this point, he's operating okay on his own, so that frees me up a lot. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So-
Wonderful. My mother has Alzheimer's. It's a difficult disease. I'm sorry that you and him are going through that.
If you can excuse my language, anybody, but it sucks.
Yeah, it's the worst. It really is. It's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
So we understand that your priorities need to be
Yeah.
elsewhere, but we are here when you need a break and a dog snuggle. We have plenty of that to go around.
Great. Okay, great.
And because you're from Leverett, I would say it's been, I know Jenny and Jill have heard from other people in Leverett, but the response from folks in Leverett has been so generous and kind and welcoming. And I sort of had this like, how are people gonna feel? Like,
Oh, no,
like,
yeah,
and everybody has been so like, oh my gosh, when are you open? Like, we're so
Yeah.
excited. We're so happy you're doing this. And it's been really, it's been really encouraging
well,
to have
that's
people be
great.
so kind
Yeah,
and excited.
good.
So,
I'm glad to hear that. It's a nice
Mhm.
community.
Mhm,
Yeah, yep.
mhm.
So,
It's really been very welcoming. Everybody seems happy to have somebody back in the
Uh-huh.
building.
Yeah.
So, and we're happy it's us.
yeah.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, Jody, go
So
ahead.
how many dogs do you house in the building at once? How
That's
many
a great
dogs are
question.
there?
So we just put up our new indoor kennels last weekend, thanks to some volunteers. That is 4 kennels. One is kind of an extra large kennel, so it can be for 2 dogs who get along or a couple of puppies if need be. And then we have other areas in the building that we can utilize if we need the space. So, the idea is foster. We'd love our dogs in here to rotate out to foster as soon as
Yeah.
they can. And if they can't, then they're here. And it's, we make it as nice an environment as we can for them. The room that I'm sitting in, and we'll have you all come down to check out the space over the next week. We're going to give a couple of times that Jill or I or both of us will be here, so you can come in and take a tour of what we're doing here. But this is the living room, so it's just kind of set up. We have a kids table and a TV and a bookcase, and this is a fold down futon because it has not gone past us where we haven't spent a night here for some reason or another.
Yeah.
So we got a nice Target futon for us to sleep on.
Good, good.
Yeah, so this is a space where, a lot of our dogs who come from the shelter were never in homes. So it's a space to
Wow.
acclimate them to what a television looks like and,
Mhm.
what kid toys might look like being around. And people can just come in and chill in here with them if they want to. So we have a couple of different spaces that we can utilize, and we have an isolation room in the back. It's one thing that we did change. It used to be the community room here. And so it is going to be an isolation room once it's approved. And then we can not have to drive all the way to Westport to isolate our dogs, which is quite a drive and a
Oh.
journey to get there and back. However, when we're not using that space, it can be used as additional kennel space.
So
So-
now, do you guys stay with the dogs all night? Is there
We
someone with the
don't. I
dogs?
mean, if I didn't love my kids so much, I probably would live here. Right now we're doing about 7:30 a.m. to about 8:30 p.m. So somebody
Oh,
comes,
great.
does breakfast and potty, and then Jill and I are here all day.
Yeah,
But we will have, obviously we want volunteers to come in throughout the day, do walks, enrichment, take them for a car ride, get a pup cup. Anything is exciting for them. And then we do dinner around 5 p.m. when we leave. And then there's like a nighttime potty,
Oh.
walk, short walk or play yard
Uh-huh.
play. And then everyone gets a frozen Kong
Oh, nice.
at bedtime. And then we leave. So
nice.
that's kind of the idea right now. We were doing it earlier and later, but it was just so hard. And
Yeah.
the more friends I talk to who run shelters are like, we're here from 8 to 4:30. I'm like, okay, we don't want to do that, but maybe we are overdoing it for what we're capable of. Certainly, if somebody wants to come at 10 p.m., they can come at 10 p.m. But, we're just trying to have hours that can accommodate people's schedules, but also, be good for the dogs. They'll have indoor outdoor kennels, but those outdoor kennels will be closed for quiet hours so that we keep our neighbors happy. So,
Okay.
they'll be closed by 9 p.m. if not earlier and opened up when we get there in the morning.
Nice.
So Jenny, I'm back to Jody's question. You have 4 kennels. So how many dogs do you anticipate having at one time?
I would say anywhere from 4 to 6.
Okay.
Like right now we have 5. Right, like we are, and 6 during the day because my foster comes. So we have like pop-up kennels that can go up in like bigger rooms, and those are fine for most dogs. An escape artist it wouldn't work for, but the dogs we have now they're fine for. And part of that is, like we'll plan to, we might plan to only have 4 dogs, but then we'll get someone will say, hey, I want to return my dog. And like Jenny said, we have a lifetime return policy. So now all of a sudden we're over capacity because we weren't expecting this. And so there are just ways for us to creatively deal with that, like the pop-up
Yeah.
kennel. And we're making it work. But yeah, we could definitely use help. So I'm excited about
Yeah.
it.
So 2 of the dogs that we have here right now, Sunflower and Tiger Lily, were both returns. They were
Oh.
adopted and returned to us. So we weren't expecting them to be here.
Yeah.
Gia is a more complicated foster placement. Vinny is shy and is working on potty training, so he's a little bit more complicated. And then Ted, we have like a 6-month-old Pyrenees puppy, so he's gigantic and adorable. And I think we'll find him a foster soon, but we just didn't have one by the time transport came up. So he's here with us. And luckily they all get along. We don't do like 5 dog play groups, but we do rotate play groups, keep them socialized. They get walks every day. Giselle came after school today and walked everybody. So, they are getting out. The dogs are our priority, so that, Jill and I need to work. We have to also run this organization. And so that's where it becomes complicated for us, because we're spending all day taking care of the dogs. And so the work just keeps getting pushed back.
And at the same time that those dogs are in the shelter, we have, I mean, I don't even know how many dogs we have in foster right now. So we have fosters all over. I mean, we have people in Vermont and Eastern Mass and all over the Valley and Connecticut. And so it's not just the dogs that are there. It's, I mean, I don't know how many we have, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We have 24 here right now.
Yeah.
We have 24 in Texas and Tennessee waiting to come.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're constantly, we don't stop.
And we had what, several adopted. I mean, that doesn't count the ones that we just had another one adopted in the last hour and a half.
Right.
And so another one adopted yesterday, many who went home on Monday. So there's a continual inflow and outflow, all the time.
How long, is there a typical length of time for a foster?
I always tell fosters that it really depends upon the dog.
Yeah.
Puppies tend to go faster. If you say,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to foster this 7-year-old, I don't know, German Shepherd with 1 leg or with 3 legs, 1 leg would be
One leg would be
interesting.
really hard, but
That would be really hard. But, a tripod, like that's going to be a longer stay because it's going to take the right kind of family who wants to commit. I have fostered, I think we realized I'm on number 22, and I've never had longer than about 3 weeks. Close to 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. But that's because I have 3 dogs, I have 3 rescues, and so they are better at integrating a younger dog than an older dog, although I have had an older dog as well. So it really depends. When I talk with fosters, one of the things that we go over is, what are you open to? What are you? And I keep a spreadsheet that keeps all of that information. So that, there's my dictator. That's my 12-year-old, 16-pound dictator. Pippin, stop. So it's variable. I think the longest we had a foster have one was, not including Tulip, but was Marianne, was what, 3 months?
Tanya, you're on here. I see you. Where is my Tulip? No offense. I love your face, but
she's downstairs with the fam right now.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh.
Tulip was my foster for 8 months, and now Tanya took her as a hospice foster because she has cancer, but she'll still outlive all of us. We're pretty sure. So we actually have a dog that has been in foster. His name is Harold. He's been in foster since October. So he's coming up on a year.
Year.
And there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no algorithm.
That's
It
right,
is
Harold.
so confusing sometimes. He's adorable. He's a bigger breed. He's scared of small children. So maybe those things, he's just waiting for the right family. Now, in that sort of situation, our foster, Olivia, understands that she is under no, permanent.
Obligation.
If she was like, listen, I'm done, then we move him.
Right.
Like you'll never be stuck beyond what your capacity is.
Right.
We also cover vacations. We cover weekends away. You're not just left out. So yes, Harold is going to be our longest. Tulip was our longest prior, but now Harold has won that trophy. And like I said, it's a rare situation to have I would say 3 months is kind of the longest, beyond these rare circumstances, but fosters are never left behind. If you feel like they need to go, you're reaching a time, like you let us know, and Sydney works immediately on, replacing
Finding a place for them. Yeah.
Right.
Do you ever have a lot of people that end up adopting the dog once they've fostered them? Do you have a lot of that come through?
We have had I don't think it's that many. Most people are fostering because they want to foster, meaning like they want to, oh, hey, Phil, he's one of my fosters. Okay, so I think Jill's putting Phil on because she foster failed with Phil. That was her first foster, and it became her child. Most fosters are doing it for the right reason, which is giving that dog a temporary home. To be part of their journey to a better life. Have we had fosters adopt? Yes. Most of them come back to foster after, they'll take a month or so to kind of get acclimated to their dog being in the home and it being their dog. But most of them come back to foster even after they've adopted.
I fostered a dog back in 2018. It was my first foster I've ever done. And I got her from the ACC in New York, which is one of the highest kill shelters. And she was actually going to be euthanized the day that I fostered her. And I had her for 2 months. She was a little pit bull mix. And I fell in love with her, and I adopted her 2 months because she was around 6. And I was just thinking, I don't know what her life is going to be like if she gets adopted out to someone. What if, she goes back to the shelter? And I was like, with me, she would have her forever life. Like she would never go anywhere, no matter what. And then she got cancer in 2022, and I lost her last year in August. So
I'm so sorry, but what a life you gave her.
Yeah, so
her.
that's why I was asking if people adopt, because it was just like an amazing feeling for me, like just fostering her, like just that I saved her life. That was like just doing that. But adopting her was like just amazing, and she was like an amazing dog, and I miss her every day. But I have my other dogs. I have German Shepherds, so
I love that story, and you'll find quickly that pit bulls are kind of like our mascot here. We absolutely adore the bully breeds here. So, and if Sydney gets an applicant that, kind of says like, I don't want any pit bull breeds, like we don't judge, but Sydney will try to educate them the best she can on the breed, because we're such big supporters of that breed.
Yeah, and they're amazing dogs. Like I've had German Shepherds for 19 years. And she was like my first pit bull, and she was amazing. And when people put them down, I don't understand that, because they're amazing. I think every dog is amazing. It's what people make them out to be sometimes, you
Yeah.
know, of how they bring them up that can
I
be different
agree.
dogs.
100%. We all
100%.
agree with you.
Yeah.
And I saw Tulip. Thank you for bringing her in.
Oh,
She's my little white kitty. We love her so much here in this organization, and we love Tanya for stepping up and being her mom. Actually, Gia's from the ACC.
Okay.
She was rescued by another rescue in New York City, and speaking of organizations, they ghosted their foster. So their foster didn't hear from the organization for weeks and weeks. And so the foster dropped her off at the shelter. And then when the shelter contacted the rescue, they said, we're not going to come get her. So we got her. Because how can you do that to a dog who you made promises to?
Right.
So anyway, that's where she's from. But can't imagine her in the city. She is like crazy.
She's a weird dog, but we love her.
Oh my God, I love her so much. She would be my dog if I could have her. But outside
I won't
here,
say that Jenny has said that about more than one dog. This
bet,
one
yeah.
would be my dog. If
I have 2 rescue females at home who don't like other dogs. So it keeps me at an arm's length from taking all the dogs home.
There you go.
But anyway, so yes, we love getting off topic, and now I don't even know where we started. I think we started with fostering. If you want to adopt your foster, you can, as long as that dog does not already have a meet and greet set up. You know, if we have something set up, we're not going to go back on our word
Sure.
to those adopters. If you have your foster and there's, you know, even if we have applications and stuff, as long as there's no meet and greet set up for this dog, you can adopt that dog. We also offer foster to adopt situations for dogs over the age of 6 months,
5 months.
5 months. So, you know, because we know a lot of people are like, oh, do I want to adopt a dog right off of transport? Like, I feel like I love this dog, but I don't know this dog. So we offer a 2-week foster to adopt trial. We take the dog down off of the website. You have 2 weeks to acclimate with the dog and decide if it's the right fit for you. And then all we ask is that if you decide it's not the right fit, that you give us a little bit of time to find foster placement for them. So that's kind of the other side to foster to adopt. Like, we'll give you this time, but once you decide, don't drop the dog off. Just give us, unless it's a safety issue. We always take our dogs back in a safety issue situation, but we'll always find room, even if it's in my basement, to make sure that everybody, including the dog, is safe. So we do that. We find that people do that a lot with the older dogs that they're interested in adopting. And sometimes we'll even encourage it. You know, if Sydney feels like that's going to be the best scenario for this dog's personality or this adopter's personality, she'll encourage the foster to adopt situation so that people
Or if
are
they have
feeling a little.
cats or other variables, if they have, we just had a situation where a family has a neurodiverse kid and they weren't sure how this child was going to react to having a new family member. And so we're not inflexible about like making it work for your family,
Right.
because if it doesn't work for your family, the dog isn't going to stay, and we want permanent placement. So
Now, do you guys do home checks at all for fosters or someone wanting to adopt? Do you do home checks at all?
I Google your
Google,
home.
yep.
Yeah. Excuse me, madam. The door is open. She wants to come in, but she will not because I have not,
Invited her.
Yeah. So I look at people's houses, but hold on. Yeah. Come on.
I'll say, I don't know what Sydney does behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But we do not require a home check or a landlord check or a vet check. And that was my decision when starting this org. And I decided and learned that through my master's degree and working with best friends. Like, we don't have full open adoptions. Like, we're not going to let anyone just walk in and take any dog they want. But we also want to be equitable and open in a sense where people can feel comfortable telling us about their living situation. And so we can make the best match for them. I just find that the amount of returns versus, you know, doing all of these things, these home checks and vet checks is so small, you know, without doing them. So if you have 1,000 dogs adopted, maybe one will come back because that landlord actually doesn't allow dogs and that person wasn't honest with us. So, you know, we don't require fences. We don't, you know, require, like, it's just, it's really about making the right match.
Yeah.
So if we don't feel like it's the right match, we will not adopt that dog to you. And I'm sorry, Sydney, go ahead with, you know, it's really Sydney's process. So
Yep.
Oh, well, so I mean, I just had an adopter that I spoke with who had been, I mean, this man had, I thought like, well, you need to be doing this job because he knew so much. He had done his research, he had training plans, he had plans for what would happen when he had to go into the office or wasn't in the office, or he had every contingency planned for. And he had been rejected by 3 rescues because he didn't have a fence. And to me, the fence was not what was going to make him an exceptional dog owner. So not only did he adopt from us, but his parents adopted from the same litter, and they live a couple of towns away. So 2 dogs got wonderful, caring, loving homes, permanent homes, when, you know, it might have been nothing, you know, because there wasn't a fence.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's just, yeah, I think there's a lot of, I mean, when I speak with adopters and fosters, I ask a lot of questions, but it's also that we have a conversation, you know, about who they are and
Yeah.
what their goals are and what they are looking for in this and how our goals and their goals match. And I feel
And
like
I
that's
think-
what matters
I think
more.
every place is different. Like when I fostered Poochie, that was her name, from New York. Now they sent someone here and did like a home check. But you know, I've adopted other dogs that I've never met and I've just gone to get them. Like back in 2014, I drove to Georgia and I got a dog there that I still have, an Anatolian Shepherd, and I had never met her. And I got like 2 dogs from California. And they were flown to Boston and I picked them up, and they didn't have anybody come, but I had to send them pictures of the inside of my house and the outside. But again, that could have been someone else's, home. And I didn't have a fence. And I had 6 German Shepherds at one time, and I didn't have a fence, and they all stayed, pretty close. So I just think every place is different on how they look at things as far as, they do home checks or not.
it is. I mean, it really is to each their own. And that's why, like in the beginning, when I said, find the rescue or the organization that you match with the best, because some people wouldn't agree with how we do things, and that's fine. There are plenty of organizations that do, much more hardcore checks of their adopters. We just find that this has worked out really well for us. And so we will continue to do it. And we have a really good relationship with majority of our adopters and our alumni. We have an alumni Facebook page. They're always posting pictures. We'll get follow-up emails a year from their gotcha day. So we do feel like and that's, really thanks to Sydney, we build these relationships with our adopters so that they want to continue to share with us. And then they also recommend us, a lot of word of mouth. So that's what we want it to be. We want it to feel like a community for everybody.
Yeah.
I have to leave, so I want to say goodbye and let you know that I'm up in New Hampshire until the day after Labor Day. So as soon as I get back and settled, I'm going to walk right down and see you guys.
Awesome. Yes.
Awesome.
And we will send out an email also with some specific times
Okay.
that you can come down, that we know we'll be here and ready for you.
Great. Great.
And, then get more into the nitty gritty of what you're interested in doing. And if you want to be part of the organization, we'd be really happy to have you.
Great. All right. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Ladies.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Mm-mm.
No? Well, thank you everyone for
Thank
being
you.
on, for your interest. And, Jill, will not send out an email to everybody anymore. She did not have enough coffee that morning, so she forgot the BCC, and we got some feedback about that. So we
Honestly, well
promise.
deserved. I take full responsibility.
We're tired. We're exhausted.
This is why we hang
Um,
out.
So we won't do that anymore. We promise. We'll get out some good chunks of time to have you guys down here. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or any specific interests, moving forward as a volunteer, just email us back and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you for everything you do for the dogs. And I'm so glad you guys are like close by with a new organization to help out all those amazing dogs. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jody. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Okay. Have a great
All right.
night, everybody.
Good
Have
night,
an excellent
everyone.
weekend. Get some
Good
rest.
night.
Bye.
Bye.